Hey, it's Petra, and I'm here in my garden with Vervain and a message about boundaries. Vervain is teaching me about boundaries right now through the way that she's growing. I cut this Vervain back all the way down to the ground recently, and so it started coming up again, sending up new growth, and it's doing something really interesting. It actually grew up, the stalk or the stem grew up, and then it started growing out to the side. So I don't know if you can see this. Right here is the center point, and it started growing out towards each side, and sending out its stalks sort of sideways before going up. And this appears to be in response to the plants next to it. We've got Motherwort here, and a lime balm, which is related to lemon balm in the mint family. And both of these plants are really aggressive. All the lime balms, all the mints, just spread like crazy, right? They take whatever empty space there is, they're gonna spread into it and fill it up. Motherwort is not a spreader, but similarly takes up a lot of space. It comes out from, a center point. It doesn't spread underground, but what it does is it like will literally reach over other plants and hog the sun and hog the water and hog all the soil. It's very greedy. And so these two plants that Vervain is in between, they both move quickly. They both grow quickly. They take up a lot of space quickly. And Vervain seems to be growing a little bit slower, taking its time. It also is a spreader. It is, is it in the mint family? I'm not sure. Kind of looks like it. But it does seem to move slower, and so it has adapted to its neighbors by taking up space, by pushing out. See how it's like literally pushing against the motherwort and backing the motherwort up? The first time that this Vervain grew, it just grew straight up. There was no sideways outward action. It only had this space to itself. Now it has all this space. It's actually changing the way that the motherwort and the lime balm are growing. They can't take up this space anymore because someone's there. The motherwort will, like a couple months ago on the last growth, it was literally reaching over the Vervain and blocking out the Vervain sun. And now it's kind of growing, it's being forced to grow more straight upwards and stay in its space instead of encroaching into the Vervain space. And this is just such a beautiful reminder about what boundaries actually are. There's no fence here, there's no wall, there's nothing in between these plants, right? It's just an interaction. It's just entities that are interacting, they're touching each other, and the boundary is formed where they interact, where they touch. And so Vervain is literally pushing its boundaries outward by taking up more space with its own presence. That is what actually establishes the boundary of where this entity begins and where the next one begins, right? Where this one ends and the next one begins. That is what the boundary is this space right here. And you know, it's an interesting vision of protection, right? Of boundaries. We often want to put up walls between us and the things that we don't want to interact with, or to protect our space. We like to think of boundaries as these static, fixed, almost objects, right? A fence is an object. You put it up and then you walk away, and then that's my space and that's your space, and don't cross the line, right? But this vervain, it's like the boundary itself is the vervain's presence. The vervain had to expand its presence and amplify its presence to be able to take up this amount of space, to be able to push its boundaries outward and have more space for itself. It actually has to occupy it itself. I don't know if you can see, like, it literally went, there's no vervain growing here. It sent its stalk way out over here and then around. This is my first time working with vervain. I know that vervain is associated with vampires and protection from vampires. So it seems appropriate that it would have this capacity, this understanding of how to take up space and how to establish boundaries. But this is my first time seeing this plant grow. I have not worked with it as medicine yet. I'm just observing its growth. I'm curious if anyone on here has any experience with vervain, with its protection properties. I'd love to hear your experience. Let me know. Let me know your experience with vervain and boundary work. All right, y'all. See you around.